So here's how I know that I'm not normal. I mean, aside from the fact that I have to take Zoloft and Trazodone to, basically keep me from losing my fucking mind, but like I assume that normal people daydream, about normal shit, right? Like you might daydream that I don't know, you get to do a fucking duo with, I don't know, Beyonce or some shit, right? Or that you, I don't know, that when somebody made some sort of fucking snappy statement to you, that you came back with a very witty, it just their whole life is destroyed, sort of a comeback. But not me. You know what I daydream about is I'm fucking in the shower, washing my balls. I daydream that I'm basically interviewing Louis C.K., for example, right? And of course the entire interview is about how I'm basically coming to the defense of him, where it's like, okay, because people are going to pretend like, oh, now he's not funny because of the fucking, the whole sexual, whatever the fuck, harassment or whatever. People are going to pretend like, oh, he's not funny anymore. And it's just like, come on. Is that enough to convince you to like Louis C.K. again? No, it's just like, I'm hoping that, and I might be one of the few people, aside from maybe other stand-up comedians or whatever, although I say other stand-up comedians as if I'm a stand-up comedian. I am not. But, I'm hoping that he will come back in typical Louis fashion and turn this entire situation into a very funny bit. Because it just seems like that's the natural way to go, assuming that this hasn't like completely killed his career. I can only imagine, I don't know if he's doing any road work. I don't know if he's if he's come out of hiding, and I really wish he would, since the allegations or whatever. I can only imagine that, if he is going on stage at this point, that there's always going to be a few people in the crowd that came in specifically just to fucking heckle him about the sexual harassment thing. It's got to be rough because, he probably has to sort of open with I don't know, some fucking apology, because apparently, anytime anybody does something to one person, apparently everybody else on the fucking planet deserves an apology. Which, by the way, if you haven't figured out, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that, that anybody, let alone celebrities, comedians, whatever, that, that maybe they offended somebody, maybe they, sexually fondled somebody. I mean, I understand it's fucking horrific, but the only person or people that deserve to be apologized to are the people that he actually did something to. The rest of the fucking country really should just go fuck itself. He didn't fucking keep you in the room while he and even that, there was like some allegation that he blocked the door and kept the ladies from leaving, and it turns out that was complete horseshit. I mean, I don't want to, I'm trying not to victim blame or anything, because obviously what he did was fucking horrific. I already talked about this when it came out, but he doesn't owe America an apology. In fact, I'm willing to bet that most people probably don't give a fuck. I mean, I know that there's a huge portion of people out there that are so, they're traumatized. So, any little fucking instance of, that they even hear about. Speaking of that, it actually kind of reminds me of what happened to me yesterday. And I don't mean like, oh, somebody sort of sexually harassed me. I fucking ate my balls in front of my class yesterday. I had to give a presentation on alcohol's effects on the white matter volume in adolescents' brains, which, I practically went to sleep just giving you the fucking title of that, but it's not, it's not exactly a lively fucking topic. So I tried to incorporate some jokes, and I completely ate my balls up there. I mean, I actually heard somebody groan. I had made some joke about, what the fuck was it? I had said that, because I was talking about white matter and gray matter in the brain, right? I was expressing or explaining what white matter was, its function, that sort of thing. And then, of course, I also wanted to cover gray matter, and I had said something along the lines of like, what the fuck was it? That like, I don't know, I made like a white matter or white lives matter joke or some shit, or gray lives matter. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I did hear somebody actually fucking groan, which was hilarious to me. I mean, I've done stand up a couple of times. I've done a couple of open mics. Every time, I wouldn't say I've ever fucking crushed or killed. I mean, when you don't really know what the fuck you're doing, when you don't have your timing and all of that stuff down, you're going to fucking bomb. And, bombing in front of the class isn't as bad as, standing up on stage for, 10, 15 minutes just eating a fucking gallon of your own fucking balls. It's not fucking, it's not fun. But to get back to what reminded me of this fucking people being super sensitive is this group of that went up after me. Their presentation was on what the fuck was it, like the traumatic effects of rape or adolescent rape or some shit. It was, it was fucking horrific. By the end of the fucking class, I literally wanted to jump out the fucking window because, it was, I ate my balls. They got up, and then after that, it was talking, another group was talking about something to do with murder and, and the streak of adolescent homicide. So, it wasn't exactly a day filled with fucking jokes, but this group that went up after me, they were talking about adolescent rape, and at the end of their presentation, one of the members in there, they're both female, she started talking about how she had experienced not rape, but like I guess her uncle like tried to fondle her or some shit. I don't know, when she was like 8 or 9 or whatever, and it took her forever to basically admit to it, and for the longest time she felt like she was dirty or whatever. It's a sad fucking story. And then of course, when they're like, oh, does anybody have any questions or whatever, then like one by one, girls would raise their hands, and it seemed like everybody sort of had that same story of the uncle or the stepdad or whatever. It turned into a big fucking cry fest. And, understandably, obviously they feel a connection. They obviously have something in common. But to get back to my point, is that I understand why there are a significant portion of society that when they hear these stories, they feel a sense of, I don't know, sisterhood, right? And it's completely understandable, but I'm willing to bet that aside from them, most people really don't give a shit. And it's not like they don't give a shit like, oh, who gives a fuck that it happened to you? It's just, it's not like, it's not like life-changing, or I don't know, how do I say this without sounding fucking insensitive, or at least more insensitive than I already sound? it's not that I don't give a fuck that this happened. I mean, of course, I have a daughter, right? You know, of course, my biggest concern is that at some point, you know, I mean, because if you look at the fucking statistics, it's horrifying. It's just that it's like, you know, I feel bad, I feel empathy, I feel sympathy, but it's not like, well, you know what, my day is ruined because of somebody's fucking story or whatever. And I know that that sounds incredibly fucking insensitive, but I don't know. I don't know why it bugs me so much, you know. I mean, I think I've said it before on the podcast, part of what bugs me about the Me Too thing is not that you know, not that people are sharing their stories. That doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I know that it's healthy. You know, it's healthy to fucking get the shit off your chest, especially if you've been carrying it around for, you know, X amount of years. It's healthy. I understand the so-called catharsis of it, but I think what bugs me is just the automatic assumption that everybody is telling the truth. You know, and this level of just like man hate that's going on now, where, you know, like if you even criticize a woman, you know, and it doesn't even have to have anything to do with you know, sexism or any of that shit. It could just be anything. It could be in politics, or it could be like, hey, you know, I fucking, you know, think that that fucking candlestick over there, you know, looks fucking stupid or whatever. You know, now all of a sudden I'm, you know, some sort of fucking abuser. You know, like I can't you know, it's just like you can't criticize women anymore. And I think that's what bugs me the most, because this idea that women are perfect and, you know, and the only assholes or fucking predators or cunts or whatever, or jackasses or maniacs, you know, on the planet have penises. It's ridiculous. There are many fucking stories out there of men being fucking victimized by women. I talk to at least a handful of very fucking cunty women on social media almost every single day. And it's not the same handful, it's a different handful. Every single day, there are a handful of very cunty women out there. Just like there are handfuls of cunty men. I know that for some reason everybody gets all like, oh, how dare you call a woman a cunt? As if for some reason it's worse calling calling women a cunt versus calling a man. I would say that calling a man a cunt is probably a little bit worse. Only because only because of the fucking the stigma around the word. You know, let me just make it clear to anybody that's beginning to lose their shit. I call everybody a cunt, whether you're a man, you're a woman. I don't, you know, sometimes children can be cunts, you know. But where was I going with all this shit? How did I even end up talking about this? I don't know. I guess coming back to Louis C.K., it's like, you know, yeah, he did some horrific shit, but I hope that it didn't, you know, that this didn't end his fucking career, because he is, you know, and yeah, maybe it's a little bit of hero worship, but he is one of the funniest fucking comedians I've ever fucking heard. And, you know, his style, his delivery, everything just fucking, it works. I wish I was like, you know, 1/15th as funny as he is. And I, you know, and it fucking sucks, because I know that there are going to be people that are going to be like, oh, you know, he's not funny. They're going to be the same people that prior to the allegations thought he was fucking hilarious. And now all of a sudden he's not funny because he did some fucking creepy shit to some, I mean, you know, he pulled his dick out and masturbated. Yes, that's fucking horrific, but it's not like he fucking, I don't know. I guess if I complete that fucking statement, then I've somehow reduced that those women's victimhood or whatever. So, you know, I'm just gonna shut up right now about that. But, you know, I guess to get back to my original fucking point is, I spend my time fantasizing, or not fantasizing, daydreaming about, like I'm suddenly the fucking defender of Louis C.K. or really anybody that has been wronged throughout my fucking life. It's just I spend my time feeling like, or not feeling, fucking daydreaming that, it's like, oh, I have them on a fucking podcast, or for some reason they have me on the podcast, even though who the fuck am I? I'm fucking nobody. I'm just some guy sitting in his fucking dining room, with some headphones and a fucking mic, talking to himself, So basically what I'm saying is I'm not normal, if you haven't figured this out. I mean, if you've been a listener of this podcast, you already know that, old cunty McFuckface over here, it's got a couple of screws loose. But, I don't know. I wish I was fucking normal. Speaking of the whole Me Too thing, there was this group, called Safe Horizon on, Twitter, that, I gotta say, they don't really have much of a fucking sense of humor. They had come up with, I guess there was like some sort of fucking march or gathering or whatever of, they were calling themselves, fucking, what the hell was it? Like survivors or some shit, right? And I thought calling themselves survivors was funny. At least it was funny to me, probably insensitive, but I don't know. It cracked me up, and because my sense of humor is kind of fucking backward. Can you tell that I'm looking for the fucking tweet that I sent? I don't know. I guess maybe I was being insensitive, but where the fuck is it? I'm not gonna be able to find it. But I don't know. They were talking about how, they got together as survivors, and, being the cunt that I am, I was like, survivors, like, I don't know. Are you, you're a group that all experience the same thing. You're all victims. I had said something, it said something along the lines that, you survive 15 car pile-ups, you survive floods, you survive holocausts and genocides, but you didn't survive. I don't know. I wish I could find the fucking tweet, but at the end of it, I put that, if you haven't figured out by now that I'm just busting your balls, then you should probably relax a little bit. To me, it was a harmless fucking joke, but of course they immediately blocked me on Twitter. And, if there are any members of this Safe Horizon group listening, which probably aren't, just based on the opening 15 minutes of this podcast, I was just joking. I was just trying to make light of a very fucking horrific situation. I don't know. It comes from, from childhood with me. Like when, I've said on this podcast before, and I'm not trying to turn this into a fucking woe is me fucking podcast or whatever, but my mom was a fucking monster to me. She did a lot of fucked up shit, and one of the ways that I got through it was by fucking, being absurd and finding things funny that most people wouldn't find funny, or, looking for the comedy in situations, So if there are any of the Safe Horizon survivors, and yes, I realize I'm saying that very cuntily, but just, keep in mind that I wasn't trying to be insensitive. I was just trying to fucking, crack some people up, and, I don't know. If after this point, if you don't accept my apology, even though I said I was fucking kidding and I was just making, go fuck yourself. You like how I turned that apology into you making fucking into some invisible person making accusations? It's the way my fucking brain works. I mean, I opened this podcast with, I'm not fucking normal, Oh, Mama, why are you... My fucking dog. Why are you giving me the old fucking resting bitch face over there? I swear this dog sometimes, he looks at me like... I don't know. Like, you can just see the thoughts like, God, if you were just on 4 legs, I'd probably mount you. I don't know. Go fuck yourself, Mama. I saw this lady, I was going to school. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I saw this lady, and, I don't know, she reminded me of my high school guidance counselor. It was the one that, because, I came to California, during my junior year of high school. And, well, this lady didn't remind me of the one from Boston, but she reminded me of the one when I got here to California. Because she was like in the middle of the fucking street, like on those island things, and she's fucking sweeping shit up, right? This lady that I saw the other day. And it reminded me of the guidance counselor because she used to go to this like this rundown fucking little like shopping plaza type thing that was in my neighborhood, and she'd be out there fucking planting flowers and trying to clean the shit up, and one day I asked her, I was like, what are you doing, and she's just like, oh, I'm just, she's just one of those people that they're like they're so nice that they're fucking irritating. Like, it's like, lady, there's no way you're this fucking happy or this fucking nice. And it just, like, I always wondered, like, she must have, like, bodies buried underneath her fucking house or something. Like, there was always something weird that stuck out about her. And it turned out that, she was actually on the news. And it turned out that she had, cause she was also, she was a counselor, but I think she also worked at a hospital or some shit. It turned out that she had like stolen, like tons of fucking, medical supplies, but not like syringes and drugs and shit like that. Like she stole like, like those fucking, what are those fucking like, cashew shaped bins that they give you if you're gonna fucking throw up. They're like solid steel or some shit. She stole a bunch of that stuff. Apparently she stole like glasses and just all sorts of just odds and ends types of things, and it, I guess she lived like near a creek, and she had like buried all of this stuff on the side of her fucking house. And I don't know how it was discovered, but she was on the news, and it was just like, like I knew, like that's just how fucking perceptive of or maybe not even perceptive, maybe just negative, dysfunctional of a person I am, that it was just like, yeah, there's something weird, like, that's why, like, I don't like people that are really fucking happy all the time, or they're real like cheerful and whatever, because those people, they either got fucking skeletons in their closet, or they're on the verge of fucking snapping, because you can't be happy all the time. And that's why, we here at the effing podcast are going on a little fucking campaign of everybody should just be a cunt. Like, we don't all have to fucking be nice and smile. And, the problem is, though, the reason why people can't take part in the Be a Fucking Cunt Day that I'd like to propose at least once a month. It's kind of like a whittled down fucking version of that movie Purge. Is it Purge? Purge Night or whatever? The Purge. Where people are fucking murdering. I don't want it to go that far, but you should be able excuse me. You should be able to tell somebody that, what, you're fucking stupid. Or you're a fucking psycho, or you're a cunt, or you're a twat, or whatever. However you want to express your country. I feel like, we need it. Because there doesn't seem to be any fucking humor alive. Or, because, my main focus all the time is, is fucking finding reasons to make fun of things, to find my little outlet or my little niche of happiness in the world. And one of the things that I find funny is when people, lose their shit over stupid shit or I don't know. I could sit here all day and name all the things that make me fucking laugh, but one of the things that I have, I've not like there's no fucking, you can't even, you can't even break anybody's balls anymore without somebody getting upset and being like, well, that reminds me of the time when my uncle's, fucking sister's fucking cousin, once told me that I wasn't very good at fucking roller skating or some shit. It's just I just wish people would fucking relax a little bit, or at least realize that we have gone too far in the direction or in the other direction of trying to be nice to one another. I personally drew the line when we started calling fucking janitors, not custodians. I forget what the fucking word was, but it was just like, dude, he fucking picks up garbage and he cleans the bathroom. You don't have to give him a title that makes his job seem more dignified. He knows what he's fucking doing. And I'm not saying being a janitor is a bad thing. It's not a particular career that I would fucking embark on, but I'm not saying it's bad to be a janitor, but what's bad is trying to pretend like that job doesn't have its downsides. I guess basically what I'm saying is I'd like to be able to call somebody retarded and not be fucking chastised for it, So basically, the day of being a cunt is really just so I don't feel any fucking, I don't feel bad about making fun of people, But, I don't know. Anyway, I think, I don't know, should I fucking, has anybody seen those fucking Frebreeze commercials? Where they're like, oh, so-and-so comes home and they take off their fucking dirty socks and it smells like this. But they don't realize it, or it's real fucking condescending, and then they're like, oh, why don't you fucking Frebreeze it? And then they try and say like, oh, it's not Frebreeze doesn't mask odors, it gets rid of them. Well, isn't that the fucking same? Because Frebreeze doesn't clean, right? You're not scrubbing with Frebreeze. You're just spraying Frebreeze on some stinky shit, and the stinky shit stops stinking. So it does, in fact, mask odors. It masks those odors with a different odor that, is a little bit more pleasant than fucking, a jock strap or some dirty fucking socks. Yeah, I know that there are other things to worry about in the world or to get upset about. The Yemen people are still fucking starving to death. Net neutrality is on its way out. We're on the verge of fucking voting in a child molester. But yeah, for me, the big fucking, troubling fucking issue of my time is Frebreeze not being fucking honest about what it does. Now Frebreeze, if you come out with a cleaning product where you can actually clean up, like you fucking spray it on, like, I don't know, a paper towel and you wipe some shit or whatever, then yeah, you can say that, you're not just fucking masking odors. But if all you're doing is spraying a scent onto another scent, then you are, in fact, masking odors. So, there's my big fucking plight in the world. I'm gonna change the advertising of a fucking product that really doesn't smell all that great. I don't know. I got into a fucking argument with somebody on Twitter, which, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you realize that me and Twitter beefs, or, me and fucking getting into an argument with people on Twitter is nothing fucking new. But I forget what it was about. I think... I don't know. I ended up basically posing the question that, do all lives really fucking matter? Oh, I know what it was. It was, oh, fuck. What the hell was it? I don't know. I know what it was. It was that guy, that Daniel Shaver, the white dude that the fucking cop just killed, and he, basically got off scot-free for it. Well, there was like somebody that, was twittering about it, and they put like, oh, this should let everybody know that it's not just black people or some shit like that. And then they put like hashtag fucking all lives matter, right? And of course I see what they're fucking doing there, right? Because you don't feel compelled to put all lives matter or blue lives matter or whatever unless you're trying to basically be a fucking twat to the fucking Black Lives Matter movement, which, had nothing to do with this Daniel Shaver thing. But like when people put that, it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're taking a little fucking dig where you didn't really need to fucking take a dig, and for the, I don't know, the 7 people that haven't figured out that when people say Black Lives Matter, that they're not saying that only Black Lives Matter. They're basically saying, hey, we're people too. Can you fucking, not murder us? It's pretty fucking self-explanatory, but whatever. So this, so I naturally, I fucking get on this guy and I start giving him shit. I don't even know if it's a guy, maybe it's a girl, I don't know. And I'm just like, somebody just died. People are trying to fucking come to grips with the absolute injustice that happened here. Why did you feel the need to fucking take a jab at the Black Lives Matter movement? Because, they didn't really have anything to fucking do with this, but, I already went through what I fucking think of that type of shit, right? And, and this person comes back all fucking snooty, and I'm like, I was like, let's fucking ponder whether all lives actually do matter. And I'm going to fucking submit that not all lives do matter. And the lives that don't matter to me and really shouldn't matter to anybody else are, I don't know, Nazis, white supremacists, mass shooters, people that rape, murderers, and not just like, oh, so we got into an argument at the bar, about who was a better fucking quarterback, and I ended up fucking killing a guy. That's not really murder. I'm talking about somebody that plotted some shit out, much like the mass shooters or whatever. That angry fucking black cop that's always on fucking Fox News. Not all lives. Like if you took all of those people that, the Nazis, the white supremacists, the angry black cop guy, the mass shooters or whatever, and you lined them up on the road and you unleashed fucking ravenous wolves on them, and they sat there and rip these people to pieces in front of their family, I wouldn't give two shits about it. And I'm willing to bet that most people feel the same way that I do. It's just that because, as I said before, we're all so busy pretending to, to be these fucking well-rounded, happy, nice fucking people. Nobody's really willing to fucking admit that, not all lives fucking matter, And the thing is like, the person was like, oh, are you sober? And trying to, fucking deflect from the point that I was trying to make, which is, common on social media, right? Anytime you make a solid or a valid point, if the person doesn't have a counterpoint that, that would make any fucking sense, the first thing they revert to is this sort of fucking passive aggressive shit talk where they try and make it seem like, oh, are you fucking crazy? Are you out of your mind? Or have you been drinking, sir? It just, like, that shit annoys me the most. It's like, why can't you just admit that? Like, all right, you got a fucking point. I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. I fucking have argued with somebody on Twitter, for hours, all day long. And then they'll say something. It's like, fair enough. I don't understand why people can't just admit, like, all right. You're right, or I was wrong, or I'll go look into that. Like, that's another fucking pet peeve for me. Is the people that are still on Twitter or other social media sites arguing that the Democrats are awesome, that Hillary Clinton would have been a better fucking president, that it was Bernie supporters that cost her the election, or the people that voted for fucking Jill Stein or whatever. One thing that bugs the shit out of me, because I actually just recently got into a little bit of a fucking battle of wits with somebody, and I calmly sort of laid out all of the reasons why why the Democrats are shit, and basically how they are the cause of why we have Trump, that it has nothing to do with Bernie Sanders, that it has nothing to do with Susan Sarandon or Jill Stein, that in fact this problem has been brewing for about 30 plus years, which is why most of us, when during the primary or right after the primary, why most of us were like, you know what, I mean, not even during the primary, I mean, once Trump got in to the running, we already knew that if he won the Republican nomination, that he was going to be the president if they did not put Bernie there. If they didn't elect Bernie in the primary, we already knew that Hillary was going to lose because she's so disliked. And I know that sounds, like not factual to people that love Hillary Clinton, but you have to think about something, right? You have to think about how back in 2008, right? We were only, 6 years out from starting the Iraq War. We were only 7 years from 9/11. People were very much still in their Islamophobia phases, where it was just like, let's go over there and fucking carpet bomb the entire Middle East and turn it into a fucking parking lot. 2008, the people had a choice between her or a black guy with a Muslim sounding name. Now he isn't Muslim, but Barack Obama, it sounded to them, it was so close to fucking Osama that it was a very controversial situation, and yet they still voted for the black guy with the fucking Muslim sounding name. And then in 2012, they fucking re-elected him or whatever. It should have been clue number one, just from that 2008 election, that Hillary isn't as liked as you think she is. And one of the things that I constantly get into arguments with people online, especially on Twitter, is I'll give them the rundown of all of the things and all the reasons why progressives don't like Hillary and why we don't like the Democratic Party. And most of the time, if not all of the time, I will say, look, don't just take my word for it. Everything that I've said can be looked up. All you have to do is actually want to know the truth. Now, if you're determined to stay uninformed, if you're determined to stay ignorant, well then yeah, of course, nothing I say is ever going to change your mind. But if you actually decide, okay, look, maybe these guys aren't lying to me. Maybe they're not just a bunch of sexist Bernie bros. Maybe they are actually knowledgeable. You know, I don't want to believe them, but let me just look into what they're saying. You know, just to you know, I always say, like, look into it and prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, I will fucking admit to it. I know I'm not wrong, but if I am, I will admit to it. And I always pose that. Just go look, look it up yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. I've done it even on this podcast. You don't have to take my word for it. Just look it up. You know, I told them about how Bill Clinton had like a secret fucking plan with Newt Gingrich to privatize Social Security. That's something you can look up. If you look into NAFTA, the Republicans tried for years to pass NAFTA. NAFTA was a huge fucking job killer. It basically opened up the possibility for corporations to take their fucking factories and businesses overseas or across the border, pay lower wages to these people in these other countries, and then bring their products back to the U.S. Tax free, and fucking up the price for these products. Sometimes, you know, almost 900%. NAFTA was a huge fucking job killer. It's the whole reason that Detroit looks like a fucking ghost town. The Republicans had tried for years to pass a NAFTA-like policy in this country. They couldn't get it done, but you know who did fucking get it done and got it passed? Bill Clinton. Something else that you can also look up. The crime bill that Bill Clinton posed during his presidency, it exploded the prison population, and it negatively affected, you know, more so than any group in this country, black people. So this idea that, oh, you know, they're the Clintons, they're fucking cool. They're not racist. They haven't proposed any policy that hurt black people. They're the friend of the, no. If you look at their policies, just the crime bill alone hurt the black community. Bill Clinton passed DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act. I know I've said this on previous podcasts, so I apologize to the people that have heard this before. But the Defense of Marriage Act was basically, it basically told gay people that you cannot get married because marriage is between a man and a woman. Bill Clinton passed that. Hillary Clinton didn't fucking change her stance on gay marriage until 2013. This is also something you can look up. When Barack Obama was, during the first 2 years of his presidency, from 2009 to 2010 or 11 or whatever, he had a Democrat majority in both houses, which means that if he had proposed single-payer health care or universal health care, it could have gotten passed. But instead, what did he do? He gave us Obamacare, which is really just Romney care, as in Mitt Romney, as in the healthcare program that was proposed by a Republican, that came from a right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation. It's also something that you can look up. Hillary Clinton advocated for overthrowing Gaddafi in Libya. And that's exactly what happened. They overthrowed his his rule. He was fucking publicly murdered by his own people, and now Libya is basically what's called a failed state. It is basically the Wild West. Hillary Clinton proposed that. In fact, there's a video of her basically laughing about getting Gaddafi killed. It's something that you can look up. Hillary Clinton voted in favor of the Iraq war. Think about it. She was tricked by George dipshit W. Bush into thinking the war in Iraq was a good thing. Obama bombed fucking Syria so much during his presidency that they actually ran out of bombs. This is also something that you can look up. Obama was known as the deporter in chief, meaning that he deported more people than any president ever. Again, this is something you can look up. Those refugees that Trump refuses to let into the country or is fighting against, who do you think created those refugees? Could it be the 8 fucking years of, taking 2 wars, the one in Iraq and Afghanistan, and expanding them to 7 wars? That includes Syria, Libya, we're involved in Yemen, we're involved in, I believe, Ethiopia, and a number of other fucking, it's not, it's not like we are fighting 7 wars, but we're definitely involved, whether we're actually there on the boots on the ground fighting or we're supplying the weapons. Look at what's happening to the Yemenis people. Right now, they are being starved to death by Saudi Arabia, who just happened to get all of its fucking weaponry and shit from us during the Obama administration. He pushed for TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is basically NAFTA on steroids. Like, I think with NAFTA, the corporations that move their factories and shit overseas, when they bring their products here, they were taxed a little bit, but, not even close to being fair or reasonable. And TPP basically would have said, you know what, you don't have to pay any taxes, period. Which means that even more factories and corporations would be moved overseas or across the border. Obama was pushing for that. Hillary Clinton voted in favor of that 30-something times. Again, these are things that you could actually fucking look up. Now, I don't mean to sound like a fucking condescending cunt over here, but it drives me up the fucking wall when you have people that you could very easily verify everything I'm fucking saying, but instead, a lot of them will choose to just be like, nah, you're just, you want fucking pie in the sky and fucking unicorns and shit, and you're just a petulant child and all this other fucking horse shit that isn't even fucking true. Because it's easy. It's easy to, and I get it. It's easy to just hold on to whatever it is that you currently believe. Because to look into any of the shit that I or other progressives have said could potentially upset your entire fucking worldview. That, Democrats equal good, Republicans equal bad. That fucking Bernie Sanders or Jill Stein caused Trump, and not the 30 plus years of neoliberal bullshit that built up to basically the inevitable occurrence of us being fucking governed by a demagogue. It's easy to stay in ignorance. It's not easy to venture beyond what you've been taught or what what has been told to you by people in fancy fucking suits and make $30,000 a day talking about fucking Russia on television. It's easy to fall in line with that and just buy into that narrative and to forever stay in your fucking bubble. It's easy. But there is no respect, at least from me or from progressives, and you may not really give a shit about a respect, but there is no respect for people that are choosing to stay uninformed. Because to fucking change that would upset the entire fucking narrative and might possibly cause you to be like, well, fuck, man. What have I been doing? I've been duped. I mean, the Hillary supporters and the Democrat supporters right now, they're so, they throw this, the Trump supporters, they're all a bunch of fucking idiots. They're all, they got duped. They bought into the fucking, the snake oil salesman, and it's true, but the people that voted for Hillary Clinton and that continue to this day to defend her and to defend the Democratic Party, you too have also been duped. You too have, fucking bought into the snake oil salesmen that pretend to be the party for the people when they've done nothing but fucking look out for the interests of the donors, of the corporations. We don't have two parties in this country. We never have. Or, well, we had a long fucking time ago. But currently, we don't have two parties. We have two sides of the same fucking coin. Democrats and Republicans are only looking out for the benefit of the rich and wealthy, the corporations, the donors. The people, they don't give two shits about. Which is why it seems like we're always just fighting for fucking crumbs. I mean, the fact that a majority of people in this country are against net neutrality and yet they're getting ready to end it regardless is a sign that we don't have any fucking power. Or we don't have the sort of power that we thought we had because we're too busy buying into the bullshit. Buying into this fucking ideology that the reason the country is so fucked up is because this group of people with brown or black colored skin that have no power, no money, somehow they're the ones that have managed to pick up the factory in which you used to have a job in and move it overseas. You've been convinced that it's people with no power and no money are the reason that your life fucking sucks. And not the fact that it's the people in the fucking $10,000 fucking Armani suits that, regularly fucking vacation in, Martha's fucking vineyard and have huge fucking yachts that actually own the fucking corporations and decided that it's more important for them to make a few more fucking dollars by moving the factory overseas or across the border. It's not their fault, right? It's people with no fucking power and no fucking money. That's how they continue to get away with this shit. And the same thing goes for those on the supposed left, although at this point you're really just moderate fucking Republicans. There's a video of Barack Obama basically admitting that he is a fucking moderate Republican. It's something you can look up. But, those of you that are convinced that, it's the Republicans' fault. They're all fucking racist and, and shitty. And that's the reason that, that life fucking sucks here. And it's not the fact that, we went 8 years with a guy that fucking bailed out the banks that were supposedly too big to fail and he made them fucking bigger. It's not that guy. It's not the fact that he bailed out Wall Street, even though these cunts were responsible for the I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 to 10 million fucking foreclosures that happened. They're the ones that caused the housing bubble to fucking crumble. But he went and he bailed them out and didn't bail out fucking Main Street. It's not that. That's not the reason that after 8 years of the hope and change that never fucking came. No, that's not the reason that people voted for Trump. It's because suddenly, even though these people, a majority fucking voted for Obama twice, they suddenly decided, you know what, I'm racist this year. This year, I'm fucking racist. You know, you've been fucking duped just as much as the people that fucking support Trump. You're all a bunch of fucking chumps. But again, all of the things that I've said, every single thing can be looked up. It can be verified. It's really just up to you. It's up to you on whether or not you actually want to fucking know the truth. Because like I said, it's very easy. It's very fucking easy to just, sort of stay in the bubble of fucking ignorance. It's very easy. It requires no work whatsoever. You know, being educated, being informed, these are things that actually take work. And sometimes when, you go out there and you try and learn shit, sometimes, foundations can be rocked as far as your beliefs. You can realize, oh, fuck, I have been fucking duped into thinking that the Democrat Party is the party of the people and that somehow they're better than the Republicans, even though they fucking agree on pretty much everything. I mean, the military-industrial complex, they're both on board for giving the fucking Pentagon, more and more money every fucking year. They're both beholden to fucking donors. They're both fucking 100% behind any fucking war, skirmish, uprising that happens. They both don't do jack shit about these fucking maniac cops that are killing people. They both attack fucking social programs when it's time to supposedly cut the deficit. Please tell me where they fucking differ, because I don't see it. I don't fucking see it. They don't fucking differ on really much. They're very fucking similar on most fucking issues. I mean, you had Democrats fighting against single payer. Yeah, they thought that, what fucking Trump was trying to propose was horrific. But you didn't hear any of them like, well, you know what? The next fucking step is single payer. What they was like, oh no, we got to protect Obamacare, the right-wing fucking healthcare program that was, thought up by the Heritage Foundation. They are fucking the same group of fucking cunts. The only difference, and I've said this on this podcast before, the only difference between the Democrats and the Republicans is that the Republicans, they're horrific. The horrific shit that they're going to do when they're in power. The Democrats, on the other hand, they're real good at disguising and pretending to be on your side while they fucking stab you in your back and stick their hands in your pocket. So, like I said, fucking, wasn't I trying to end this podcast like half an hour ago? I'm just saying that, you can either educate yourself and look up everything that I said. And if it turns out I'm fucking full of shit, then by all means, send me your fucking emails and your direct messages and prove to me how I'm so wrong. I'm guessing I won't receive any of those. At least from the people that actually went out there and tried to educate themselves. Oh yeah, I'm going to get the fucking emails and the direct messages from the people that are going to pretend like they did, but they really fucking didn't. And all they really want to do is just talk shit to me and blame me for, for Trump or whatever the fuck. And, I know who you are. But if you can give me some legitimate, like, all right, this right here, debunks what you fucking said. If you can send me that, I will happily come on this podcast and take back everything I fucking said. So the challenge is to you, people that probably aren't listening. Prove me wrong. But anyway, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Tired of yelling at you guys. I tried to keep it light in the beginning, didn't I? I don't know. Anyway, fucking, I hope you're having a good week so far. I know it's only Tuesday, so, I just barely started. But, I feel your pain, people. I really do. Okay, I really don't, but, I get it. I mean, I once was part of the fucking, I'm still technically part of the corporate world or whatever, but, I have a little different setup than most people. But anyway, all right, I will talk to you guys again later this week. I don't have class this week at all. So, I could bring you another podcast tomorrow. I could give you another podcast every day of this week if I felt like doing so. I really don't, but, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I hope you had a good weekend, and I'll talk to you again in, a couple of days or so. All right. Like always, don't take any shit and go fuck yourself. Peace.